What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a jam-packed episode. I am CFCDP. We have a lot to get into. Chelsea are in direct negotiations with Victor Osimhen's camp, trying to come to some sort of an agreement on a salary terms. Club-to-club talks will be no problem, as we've discussed. If he chooses to come to us, we will get him. So getting Victor Osimhen's green light on the wages is crucial. There was a lot of stuff that happened today. We talked about in the beginning how this deal was going to be happen, and I kind of told you that this deal will only happen one way. If Chelsea wait for the window to die down and suitors go away. That happened. PSG went away, other suitors went away, and now it is just between Chelsea and Saudi. Now, the key thing here, as I said, is getting Osimhen's green light on the wages. So, how do they do that, right? There's a huge, big valuation in between what Al Hilal is offering and what Chelsea are offering. But Victor Osimhen wants to come to Chelsea. I'm almost certain of that. After reading everything that came out today, after reading the reports that said, it will only happen, the move to Saudi Arabia, if Chelsea cannot get the deal done, has me feeling a little bit better as we sit right now. Now, things can change. Chelsea may not step up to the number that would get Victor Osimhen to sign, but I believe Victor Osimhen wants to come to Chelsea. It's just about getting to a number that works for him. So, Chelsea are in a bit of a predicament as well because Chelsea don't want to break their wage structure. They don't want to give Victor Osimhen an exorbitant amount of wages that are not incentive-based, it's not bonus-based, not contingent on Champions League and whatnot. Because that's going to set a bad precedent. That's going to set a precedent for future big signings to not get in the wage structure, to say, oh, well, you did it for Victor. Can you do it for me? And it's going to cause a problem. So Chelsea are trying to come to terms with Victor Osimhen, and then club-to-club talks will be no problem. As we sit here at 7:14 p.m. in the U.S., I feel like he is going to come. I feel like Chelsea will step up to the table and get this done because I think they know that this player is very, very important. Now, let's not get it twisted. Chelsea do have their limits in this sense, right? So if they do not, are not able to go past those limits and Victor does not come, Chelsea have a 3-striker list after that. Ivan Toney, many people think Jadon is on that list, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Those second two are worst case scenarios. I think Chelsea have a very clear run to Ivan Toney if they do not get Victor Osimhen. However, there are some murmurs that Arsenal, Manchester United could be in for Ivan Toney because Ivan Toney has only agreed terms with the Saudi club. If the Saudis get Victor Osimhen, Toney will then not go there. Toney will then find a club in the Premier League more than likely. That would leave Chelsea as a great standpoint. But it's a completely different type of signing. It's a completely different thought, right? Ivan Toney would come into this team and he would be basically competing with Jackson for those minutes. Osimhen comes in. Now we have a clear hierarchy. This is Osimhen's team. He will lead the line and Jackson will deputize. Now, many people will say, does Jackson deserve that? I think Jackson could easily score 15-plus Premier League goals this year. So it's not a bad problem to have two guys that can get those numbers. However, I think Victor Osimhen immediately puts Chelsea in not only the top 4, but if things go well and they're able to defend properly, which if you saw my tweet before, I think this team will go as far as their goalkeeper and their defenders will go. But if you get Osimhen and you can get a guaranteed scorer for those big games, I think you have moved up the timetable of this team winning if you go and get Victor Osimhen. It makes top 4 not only a priority, it makes it an expectation. So in order for Chelsea to get this done, they need to make sure that they get to the table, they get their wages situated, and the deal gets done. If not, you bring Toney in. I'm not sure how much of a needle mover that is. It certainly brings in quality. It certainly brings in depth. It allows you to not rely on an 18-year-old Mark Guiu. It allows you to not put Christopher Nkunku up at the striker position. It changes a lot of the dynamics, but it is not what Victor Osimhen will bring to the table. So, that's on Osimhen. A lot of news yet to come. Tomorrow is going to be just a crucial day because I think personal terms need to be agreed by tomorrow because you still need all of Friday to go ahead and get the club-to-club deal done. You still have so many outgoings to deal with that you have to get taken care of, and you have to start to talk about the Jadon, Sancho, and Raheem Sterling situation, and that situation is very fluid. The ball at this point is in Manchester United's court. Do they want Raheem Sterling? If they want Raheem Sterling, the deal could be done. They are not interested in Ben Chilwell. I'm not sure where they sit on some of the other players, but as we sit right now, if Manchester United wants to go for Raheem Sterling seems down for the deal, and Jadon Sancho seems down to go to Chelsea. While this is happening, Sancho is in talks, and Man United are in talks with Juventus about a loan with an option, a loan with an obligation. There's a lot of things that are being thrown out there at this point. But I believe that Jadon Sancho wants to come to Chelsea, stay in London, be with some of his former England youth teammates. I think this is a great opportunity for Sancho. I think he thinks it's a good opportunity, and I think he would prefer a move to Chelsea rather than Juventus. He would be open to both, but I think Chelsea are sort of hoping in the back of their head that Sancho's like, okay, I want to go to Chelsea. I'm not going to Juventus, and maybe that forces Manchester United's hands. It's a lot of 4D chess. It's a lot of trying to figure out who you can say, yes, I want to go there, and get them to come to Chelsea, and then sort of focus on working on the club-to-club talks later. So then you can kind of have a little bit of leverage saying, hey, we're the only shop in time. We're the only team that he wants to go to. Let's get this done right now. Then, on outgoings, there's a lot of outgoing stuff that we need to talk about as well. Trevor Chalobah has some suitors potentially in Crystal Palace. There's other players that need to go. Broja might need to go, but he might be hurt, so it might be a January thing for him. David Datra Fofana is another guy. Carney Chukwuemeka. There are players that will be sitting here until January, and when the next opportunity to move happens. But it's just critical to get some of these guys out. Me, personally, I would like to know what is the hierarchy of who's dealing with what. Who's dealing with Osimhen? Who's dealing with Sancho? Who's dealing with the outgoings? Because I think as Chelsea fans, we want to hold accountability to people that are working on specific things. Because right now, it's all on the sporting directors. If the Osimhen deal gets done, but the Sancho one doesn't happen and the outgoings don't happen, who can we attribute the glory and who can we get the ridicule to? That's what my big thing is at this point. So it's going to be complicated. It's going to be a lot of news. Oh, and we have a match tomorrow. But there's going to be a lot of news that's got to shake out in the next 48 hours, and we'll see how it goes. But my prediction is that Osimhen comes in. Sancho I'm 50-50 on, and the outgoings, we'll just have to see what Chelsea can do in the 11th hour. I believe that teams will come in the 11th hour because they know they can get a deal from Chelsea. So, outgoings, incomings, there's a lot to get into. I want to give a shout out to the show sponsor, Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. Simon is a fantastic content creator. He has transfer source information. There's match reviews on his platform, tactical analysis, everything a Chelsea fan could want in one single spot. So go to that link in the description below. Subscribe to that. The transfer market news will be crazy. The aggregated blog, the source news will be amazing with Simon. He just did an interview with Sammy Mockbill on his podcast, so go check that out as well. A lot of stuff coming out on the channel. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit that like button. Subscribe to my Twitter at CFCDP1. All the stuff will be greatly appreciated. We will see you tomorrow with another update. Good night.